1992, 2 years before the world heard the word Rwanda with horror, the foundations of genocide were being quietly laid. Guns were distributed, militias were formed. Newspapers and radio turned words into weapons. What looked, from far away, like politics and protests, was, in reality, the careful construction of a plan to exterminate the Tutsi. On January 8, 1992, the streets of Kigali, Butare and Gitarama filled with protest. Opposition parties accused President Juvenal Habyarimana and his MRND party of blocking real power sharing and sabotaging peace talks in Arusha, Tanzania.
Habyarimana had agreed on paper to form a more inclusive government. But when the new cabinet was announced at the end of 1991, almost all ministers were still MRND. Only one, Gaspard Ruhumuriza, came from the PDC. So the opposition understood this was not real change.
Umuhutu yatsinze kuva kera tembereza sederi nazasubira inyuma tembereza sederi itemi tembereza.
In response to the demonstrations, Habyarimana ordered that MRND youth be chosen, armed and trained. More than 300 firearms were distributed, not to protect civilians, but to intimidate and kill political opponents and Tutsi labeled as enemies within. (1992) marked a dangerous shift. Party youth became a paramilitary force. In January 1992, a new newspaper appeared in Rwanda, Interahamwe. It was closely linked to the MRND and to Robert Kajuga, the national leader of the Interahamwe militia.
This paper joined a growing chorus of extremist media: Kangura, Kamarampaka, La Medaglia Nyiramachibiri, Echoes des Mille Collines, Umurwanashyaka, and later RTLM. Together, they spread hatred, dehumanized the Tutsi, and prepared ordinary Hutu to see their neighbors as enemies to be eliminated.
Propaganda turned fear into anger, and anger into a call for extermination. On February 7, 1992, in Byumba, a confidential memo recorded a meeting at Muvumba commune. Security officials announced the progress of civil self-defense in the Mutara region. 300 rifles had been delivered by the Ministry of Defense. The guns were divided as follows: 76 to Muvumba, 40 to Kivuye, 40 to Kiombe, 24 to Siumba. Far from the capital, the countryside was quietly being armed. In Muvumba, Burgmester Onesphore Rwabukombe selected 250 men and sent them to Gabiro for training. For 1 week, they learned to handle firearms. Later, those same weapons would be used to kill Tutsi in Byumba. At the National University's Nyakinama campus, a different kind of meeting took place. Hutu extremists from Ruhengeri and Gisenyi, many working in public administration, began to organize. They called themselves the Circle of Progressive Republicans, led by Charles Ndereyehe Ntahontuye, head of the Gikongoro Agricultural Development Project. Their goal: build an openly extremist party. On February 22, 1992, at Urugwiro Hotel in Kigali, the project became reality. 10 leading extremists announced the creation of the coalition Pour la Défense de la République, CDR. In Kinyarwanda, Impuza Mugambi Ziharanira Repubulika.
CDR was not a normal political party. It was openly racist, openly violent, and central to genocidal propaganda. These founders helped design the political machinery that would support mass murder between April and July 1994.
On January 20th, 1992, Minister of Local Government Faustine Munyazesa wrote to the prefects of Ruhengeri and Gisenyi. He ordered them to work hand in hand with army commanders, to continue distributing arms to civilians, to oversee military training, and to personally report, by fax, on who was being trained and how. To coordinate this effort nationwide, the Ministry of Defence established a special body, Auto Defence Civile. Its members included Lieutenant Colonel Ephraim Ruabalinda, Major Paul Ruarakabije, Major Alphonse Nteziriayo, Major Ruth Kankwanzi, Head of Accounting in the Rwandan Armed Forces.
The name suggests protection, self-defense. But in practice, this structure organized the militarization of civilians. It turned local populations into extensions of the army's campaign.
On January 22nd, 1992, Colonel Bernard Cussac, in charge of French-Rwandan military cooperation, informed the French Ministry of Defence that weapons were being given not only to the army, but to Interahamwe militias, through local MRND officials. While negotiators in Arusha spoke of ceasefires and power sharing, President Habyarimana was travelling to Egypt to buy weapons. In March 1992, the Rwandan Ministry of Defence purchased around $6 million worth of weapons from Egypt, rifles, rockets, grenades, and began distributing them among the population. Behind the coded language was a clear message. Militias would be unleashed to kill Tutsi and Hutu who refused to follow the genocidal line. On March 3, 1992, Radio Rwanda broadcast a message read by journalist Jean-Baptiste Bamwanga, acting on orders from Ferdinand Nahimana, head of the Rwandan Information Office, Orinfor. The document was fake, but it named a Tutsi businessman, Francois Gahima, local PL leader in Nyamata, as an accomplice. This was not information, it was a signal. In the night that followed, coordinated massacres swept through Bugesera. Interahamwe militias, the Presidential Guard, and soldiers from Gako military camp attacked Tutsi families. Doors were broken down, houses burned. People were hunted in their own communities. As results and preparations, 2 years after the survivors suffered the worst tortures and killing.
Ari ntuye hano i Nyamata. Nta mugabo mfite, abana nari mfite batandatu, ubu nsigaranye batatu. Ariko ubwo ndumva ari babiri kuko wa gatatu ni umwuzukuru wanjye.
Ese ubundi banyita Mukakarangwa Ernestine, naravukaga mu murenge witwa Mwogo, mu karere k'Ubugesera nyine ako ngaka turimo. Mu bantu bose twavukanaga nta n'umwe uriho kereka njyewe njyenyine.
Nitwa Mukarurinda Alice, nkaba mfite imyaka 37, nkaba mfite umugabo n'abana 5. Nkaba ntuye hano i Nyamata, nkaba narize amashuri 6 abanza.
ubwo navuye ku kiliziya ngeze aho hantu mu Masaka ngiye kwihisha, abahansanze ntawantemye, babaye nk'aho babwiranye, baje ari nk'abantu ntabara bagera nko ku 10 n'abandi. Umwana nari mpetse nibo bajishuye bamuryamisha hariya, bose basa nka kurya ubona imbwa ibigeze ku kintu cyapfuye bagiye kurya. Umwamva aho ndajyaho, umwamva aho ndajyaho, bageze aho bandwanira hejuru bakururana. Bamaze kugenda ndakambakamba ndagenda mfata umwana aho bamutaye ndamukikira, na wa mwana ndi iruhande yari yihishe bugufi aho ngaho ku buryo ibyo bakoraga byose abirora.
Ahantu hari urufunzo hakurya rurimo uruzi rwitwa Kanyaru, wageragamo hahoraga umwuzure no mu kwa kane imvura yaragwaga, ntabwo umuntu n'umwe watinyuka kwinjiramo n'umunsi n'umwe, ahubwo twagendaga gusa nk'aho tugiye kwiyahura.
Mbese mu ntambara ikintu cya mbere nabonye abavandimwe banjye bapfa ndeba gutyo, abavandimwe banjye bapfa mbese bajya kugira ngo banangire n'icyo kimuga. Bishe basaza banjye 2 ndeba, babatema umutwe ukwawo, igihimba ukwacyo bajugunya mu ruzi, bica undi ndeba. Noneho nanjye barangije baramfata barankubita, mbere yo kunkubita ariko babanje kumfata ku ngufu bankorera icyaha cya viole no gukenera ibibazo byose buri gihe. Ubwo birangije bamaze kunkorera ibyo ngibyo byo kumfata ku ngufu icyaha cya viole, barangije bandamije n'umuti ushobora kwica umuntu, ariko abandi baravuga ati nimuhave kwica umuntu nabi. Ubwo barangije bahise bumvishe ko abandi babujije ko mu muti wica umuntu ako kanya. Bamwe bankubitaga inyundo zihonda mu bizingi zasa amabuye, nibwo bumuga ngira, kunkanda amabere, kunkandagira nko ku ruhago, kuko bakankandagira bati turebe ukuntu umututsi yari ameze mu ruhago, kubyara kwabo se bimera gute, nubwo bumuga usanga bungaruka. Bankubita inyundo zihonda amabuye, ibyo babaga bakurikije imisumari mu mutwe, nubwo ntabwo hakora neza. Ibintu ngibyo barangije baramboha, kumboha bakambohera amaboko inyuma, bakankandagira mu gatuza, barangije banjugunya mu ruzi Nyabarongo y'igitemba, banjugunyamo bati kabine na bucya abatutsi mwisubiriye muri Ethiopia n'ubundi niho mwaturutse. Habwo urumva ko tugomba dusubire no nko gushinyagura bazi ko banyishe. Baraje basanga ahantu nayo nicaye, ni ukuvuga ngo hano hari Akanyaru, uruzi rurerure cyane, noneho hano haturutse intera hamwe, igishanga nacyo hari isayo gusa, ku buryo benshi bagwagamo bagendaga bagiye kwihisha bagahita barigitamo bakagenda bikarangira. Noneho basanga ahantu nayo nicaye nende kumwe na murumuna wanjye, twari twasigaranye ndi kumwe n'umwana nari imbere nyina wabo nkikiye n'umwana. Noneho rero baraza, bamaze kuhagera barambaza, baraza batirakora iki ahangaha. Ngenda babwira nti icyanzanye ahangaha se ntabwo mukizi. Bati rero kugeza kuri ino saha tugiye kukwica, leta yanyu yarabatanze, turakwishe kandi birarangiye, waberaga iki umututsi? Ndavuga ngo ntabwo ari njyewe wiremye. Baba ngo umugabo wawe arihe? Ndavuga ngo ntabwo nzi ahantu ari. Barangije noneho ubwo haje abantu benshi cyane, igitero kinini kiruta isoko rinini cyane. Hari umuntu umwe wari ufite impiri irimo imisumari, ni igiti babashije kinini cyane gifite imisumari, arakinkubita hano gutya mu mutwe. N'ubu ngubu harimo ikintu kimeze gutya gifukuye, bijya bingaruka bikambera ikibazo kirekire cyane, inshuro nyinshi mpora kwa muganga. Bakubisamo hano numva ko birangiye ndunamo, bakubita n'ahangaha inyuma. Ubwo umwana nari imbere nyina wabo abavugije induru ngo baramwishe, ngo ubundi nari nsigaranye baramwishe. Amaze kuvuza induru nabo bahita bamukubita impiri bamuta aho ngaho, baramutema bamuta aho ngaho. Ndabibona ko apfuye kuko hari abantu benshi, ubwo twari twishanye aho hafi, barabicaga numva batemagura nk'utema ku ibagiro. Nuko ubwo noneho rero uwo baratambutse, haba haje abandi bantu benshi cyane, mbona ngize ikibazo cyo kugira ngo nabarebe. Noneho rero ndageze ndaryama, mfata umwana muryamisha hano gutya, maze kumuryamisha ku kaboko. Noneho rero nawe ndahumiriza kuko bari benshi cyane. Noneho rero uwa mbere wahatungukiye araza antema, akubita umuhoro ahangaha. Amaze gukubita umuhoro ahangaha, akubita icumu hano ritunguka hano ahangaha. Noneho rero ubwo ahita nyambura umwana, amanyambuye umwana amuterera hejuru. Amaze kumutera hejuru yongera agaruka, ahita amugaruza umuhoro gutya amucamo kabiri, igice kimwe kigwa hariya ikindi kigwa hariya. Ndimo ndabireba. Noneho rero ubwo ngubwo uko mbibonye gutyo, noneho rero ubwo ngubwo numva ntaye umutwe sinzi uburyo batemye akaboko ntago mbizi nagiye kumenya ubwenge numva kavuyeho ubwo ndagumya naryama aho ngaho ndimo mvirirana igice kimwe cy'umwana kirimo mvurira hariya ikindi byo byarangiye.
A government commission later reported the devastation. Kanzenza commune, 62 people killed, 309 homes burned, 573 kitchens destroyed, 165 cows, 268 goats, 2 pigs lost. Ngenda commune, 36 people killed, 74 homes burned, 119 kitchens destroyed, 112 cows, 111 goats, 16 pigs lost. Gashora commune, 84 people killed, 216 homes burned, 288 kitchens destroyed, 188 cows, 325 goats, 28 pigs lost. In total, more than 500 Tutsi were killed and 16,239 driven from their homes, seeking refuge in churches and offices across Nyamata, Maranyundo, Ruhuha, Musenyi, Karama, Gitagata, Mayange, Rango, Ntarama, Murago, Kigusa, and Kayenzi. From ministers to mayors, from colonels to journalists, Bugesera showed how state structures, propaganda and militias worked together. It was a rehearsal for what would come in 1994. In Butare, MRND leaders helped create a violent group called the Common Front Against the Inkotanyi, or FCCI. Made largely of university students, its mission was to intimidate and attack Tutsi and those who refused MRND loyalty. The group was created by Dr. Jean Berchmans Nshimyumuremyi, then Vice-Rector. National Interahamwe figures, including Robert Kajuga, Leon Mbonabari, Jean-Marie Vianney Mudahinyuka, Eugène Akingeneye, and Georges Rutaganda, frequently travelled to Butare to meet them. At rallies in Butare and surrounding communes, MRND deputies like Laurent Baravuga and Bernadette Mukarurangwa called for violence. They told crowds to arm themselves and go after political opponents, especially Tutsi. Opposition parties MDR and PL issued communiques denouncing MRND's actions, warning that prefects like Tema Hagali were siding with extremists and terrorizing rival party members. They reminded him, Butare of 1992 is not Gikongoro of 1963, a warning rooted in the memory of earlier massacres of Tutsi. 5 independent human rights organizations investigated the Bugesera massacres: ADL, LICHREDOR, ARDHO, Kanyawanda, and AVP. They published reports on March 10, 1992 and March 30, 1993. They confirmed around 300 Tutsi killed. Some drowned in rivers, others burned alive in their homes. They estimated roughly 15,000 displaced, many living in desperate conditions in schools around Nyamata, Maranyundo, Ruhuha, and Rilima. They named officials responsible: Fidel Rwambuka, Mayor of Kanzenze; Faustin Sekagina, Sub-Prefect of Kanazi; Deogratias Ndimubanzi, First Deputy Prosecutor; Dominique Muhawenimana, Head of Intelligence. Some refused to be silent. Italian educator Antonia Locatelli, director of Kirai in Nyamata, sheltered Tutsi fleeing the massacres. She informed church authorities and spoke to Radio France Internationale about what she had seen. Months later, another foreigner who worked with Rwandan youth was killed. Brother Francois Cardinal, a Canadian running the Butamwa Rural Youth Training Centre, lived with fellow brothers Paul Latraverse, Karake Évariste, and Ruibandira Pierre Sevilien. The armed men confront him. A shot rings out. They enter his room and rummage through belongings. A According to a letter from Dr. Augustin Iyamaremye, then Director General of Intelligence, Brother Cardinal was shot in front of his room and between 200,000 and 400,000 Rwandan francs were stolen. Local residents complained that the security services and criminal investigation police appeared complicit, either through inaction or direct involvement. The next day, diplomats visited the scene. One told the newspaper Kinyamateka that the murder had been expected, that Brother Cardinal had received repeated death threats.
According to these testimonies, his killing was believed to be ordered by Colonel Eli Sagatwa, President Habyarimana's brother-in-law and close advisor. The genocide erupted in 1994 before any real trial could take place. In that sense, Kinyamateka was right. High authorities stood behind his assassination.
By the end of 1992, the blueprint was complete. Weapons had been distributed to party youth and self-defense groups. Extremist media had normalized hate and dehumanization. The CDR had provided a political banner for genocidal ideology. Militias were organized, trained, and linked to state structures. Those who exposed the truth, journalists, human rights defenders, foreigners like Antonio Locatelli and Brother Francois Cardinal, had been silenced. When the genocide against the Tutsi exploded in April 1994, it did not come from nowhere. It rose from plans drafted years earlier, from weapons quietly stockpiled, from propaganda repeated, until ordinary people were ready to kill. Remembering 1992 is more than revisiting a painful past. It is a warning, a reminder that genocide is not a sudden storm. It is a project, planned, financed, justified, and rehearsed. This is the USA New Times documentary. See you next time.